dual zoological virus jumping into humans in the same viral envelope or in the same organism. They debate whether a virus is an organism or not. It's almost like a computer. They can, it reproduces, but they say it's not really alive. The point is, it's data. It goes in and programs DNA. And to have it be swine, pig, porcine, pig, bird, and human, and then when those three mutated together, to have it be able to affect humans. Normally with something zoological, it makes it a lot harder for in its mutations to ever hurt humans. There's tens of thousands of diseases out there humans can't get. There's very few animals that get the same disease, the same pathogens humans do. Like leprosy in North America can only be transferred by one animal. It's very hard, and that's the armadillo to humans. But anyways, I digress. The point here is this is very, very serious, folks. And I'm now saying that it's probably a government release, saying that it's probably some type of government test tube release doesn't mean it's going to continue to be a major pandemic and that it won't mutate and stop killing people. More often than not, they do test balloons. Kurt Nemo called me right before I went on air and said he found a document about the Navy in South Texas doing flu spread scenarios out of Mexico. And that's been done in these dark winter scenarios before. FEMA's coming up with a drill on that later in the month and into next month. We've been covering it in detail. Also, the Army reports another virus that got snuck out of their facilities a few days ago. So we've been covering this all week. We don't normally even get into this, and I've been really hot and heavy saying I'm seeing a lot of indicators. I'm seeing a lot of chatter, a lot of dots being connected here. And I said, I'm on record, that I believe bird flu scares or actual bird flu attack. A bird flu scare is a precursor to them a year from now, 2 years from now, really doing it. Army, 3 vials of virus samples missing from Maryland facility, Fort Detrick, Maryland, same place they launched the weaponized anthrax attacks from. It is the Venezuelan equine encephalitis, similar to what the government released that can kill humans in Australia last year. They got caught releasing it. They get caught, and it's just barely a headline. That's CNN. So we've got that. Now, remember, the last time, this is another big issue, the last time they had a bird flu scare, they tried to inoculate a bunch of people with experimental shots that had nothing to do with even the pathogen that people, the virus that people are getting sick from, but folks still line up and take flu shots, even though the last 6 years, or is it 7 years? I know they missed again last year. The viral spectrum, it's several different viruses they come up with that they guess the mutations will be the next year, so they got to guess the mutation. It hasn't been the big flu that kills so many people. I mean, it never works, and it has mercury in it, and it's tied to Alzheimer's, and that's mainstream news. A shot-in-the-dark swine flu vaccine lessons, Washington Post, and I just thought I'd mention that because, remember, the swine flu vaccine in 76 and 77 killed a bunch of people, and the government admitted then it caused Guillain-Barré's autoimmune situation. So we don't want that to happen. There's another flu strain U.S. officials are tracking. Again, this was from Tuesday when they were tracking the swine flu, but saying it was no problem. And now you know what's going on there. Okay. Do we have any callers from Mexico? Jameer in Mexico. Let's go to Jameer. And then I got more coming up, and I'll recap everything. But this is calls from Mexico. Jameer in Mexico. Thank you for calling, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hey there, well, I just moved down here a couple of months ago, and I'm actually from Texas. And right now what's going on is that they're pretty much closing down what's Nuevo Leon and Tamaulipas, which are pretty much border states here in Mexico. There's military police, and there's also government officials from hospitals in the bus stations and in the airports. I don't know about Mexico City. I really don't want to go there. Just pretty much I've been staying here up north, and we've been thinking of going back to the States right now.
Yeah, out of the fire into the oven, as they say.
Yeah.
Can you specifically, as an eyewitness, email Kurt? That's his new email, right? Kurt at Infowars.com, correct, Jaron? Kurt at Infowars.com, Jaron? Anybody in Mexico, anybody in Kansas, anybody in San Antonio, anybody in Canada where they've had outbreaks of this, but especially in Mexico, the epicenter, be sure and email Kurt at Infowars.com. We'll create a page today and tomorrow as those come in with your eyewitness reports. BBC's doing the same thing. What do you think of these reports in the BBC that medical doctors in Mexico City are saying that the death toll is over 200, not 68?
Yeah, I would believe that because here pretty much, I mean, they don't want to alarm people. They suspended classes down here on, I think it was their 4th or 23rd. And there's been on TV, they've been saying, you know, calm down if you have any of these, coughing, that kind of stuff. Go to a hospital. I've been watching TV. There's people lining up in the hospital checking themselves, but they're not wearing anything, and they're pretty much close together. So if somebody does have the swine flu, it's those people that weren't affected.
Yeah, so it's a great place to catch it is the hospital. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
That's just crazy. So there's a lot of panicking going on, which can create kind of a stampede to go to the places where the virus is floating around. Terrible. Let me bring this up to you, and then I want to get your take on it. Mexico flu, your experiences, BBC, and this is up on, again, prisonplanet.com, Infowars.com. You want to find it easy. Readers in Mexico have been emailing the BBC describing the sense of fear gripping the country as a result of the flu virus outbreak. And the government's locked down Mexico City, has troops on the streets everywhere. As you just heard, I've confirmed mainstream news. They are moving troops to the border on both sides. Notice how Homeland Security said they were worried about things collapsing the last few months and already moved troops down there. This could be a cover for them knowing revolution was at the tipping point in Mexico. Now this panic makes everybody forget about starving to death, living under tyranny, living under the drug lords, living under the government, and now come to the government for support. That's another Machiavellian angle we've got to look at. I'm not saying that's the case. We're just analyzing every possible angle because governments have proven they're capable of anything, and normally it's bad behavior. The World Health Organization says the virus has the potential to become a pandemic. Read a selection of BBC readers' comments. And then when I Googled this guy's name and it came up in Mexico at a major hospital. I work as a resident doctor in one of the biggest hospitals in Mexico City, and sadly, the situation is far from under control. As a doctor, I realize that the media does not report the truth. Authorities distribute vaccines among all the medical personnel with no results because 2 of my patients who worked in the hospital interns were killed by the new virus in less than 6 days, even though they were vaccinated, as all of us were. The number of deaths is 20 in our hospital. Nevertheless, the true number of victims are more than 200. I understand that we must avoid panic, but telling the truth, it might be better now to prevent and avoid more deaths. Yini Greguero Davila, Mexico City. And here's one of the stories I forgot to print, guys, or it did print, but my printer was dead. Google immediately, man who shook Obama's hand dead. That was Reuters. The Mexican official, this is how many people are dead in Mexico, and I believe they are covering something up. That's starting to come out. The federal dignitary that met him and shook his hand with President Calderon has died of the flu. So, official that shook Obama's hand dead of flu. Will you pull that up for me? Thank you. Again, it really screwed me up that I was printing for hours, not looking that my printer was out of ink, and then it was showtime, because I can't really click and surf the web while I'm on air. And again, we're kind of a skeleton crew here tonight, so I apologize. But a lot of stuff is coming in as that develops, but I want to give you the source on that. That right there, that the guy that, I'm not saying Obama had anything to do with that. I'm saying that shows the number of people that are really dead here, that statistically the guy that's shaking Obama's hand is, you know, the guy that is there to greet Obama is dead. And I want the government's official name. That's coming up. Specifically, what is Mexican TV and radio saying? Specifics about them saying they're moving to block the border